Hello guys, it's me, Gigi, Genesis. I'm from girlsroyalty.com, girlsroyalty, and mineralroyalty.com, mineralroyalty. I'm really excited tonight. If you're in your jammies, relax, and I'm in my jammies. I'm over at a family's house, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Bible studies tonight, and I hope that you're going to enjoy tonight. It is our recap night, but it does have a topic, and I think it's awesome. It's called The Thirst is Real. So we're just excited that you're joining us. First of all, we want to send a huge thank you on behalf of both teams. Really on behalf of all of our mini circles and groups. We just want to say thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy yourself tonight. Just chill, relax. It's a very relaxed type Bible study, of course, as you can see. But we're going to get into God's word, because that's really what's most important, right? That we're going to dive into God's word. We're going to enjoy ourselves. We're going to talk about God, and hopefully after tonight's Bible study, you'll leave with at least one thing that you can say, you know what, okay, this is something that I learned tonight. If not, I'm sorry, but I hope that you're able to get some kind of revelation, some kind of word. A lot of times we say, oh, I'm looking for a word, but sometimes it could just be a reiteration of something that you already know, but you just need to hear it again. Maybe it's just confirmation, but whatever it may be, we're excited that you're joining us, and we're going to get started. So tonight's topic, like I said before, is called The Thirst is Real. And this is based off of our entire series this month, which is called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Now, if you've been tuning in to the past couple Bible studies, you will be familiar with our series. So the whole focus on our series is developing a hunger for God that turns into a hunger for people as well. So, we have been talking about, we kicked off in week 1 on, how Jesus has laid out this table, and that salvation and this life with God, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. But sometimes we consume ourselves with so many other things, our jobs, people, relationships, all sorts of things, just so that we don't really have time to spend time with God, just so that we don't really build our relationships. And so then, we talked about how, for some of us, we've come to the table and we are loving this relationship with God. However, how can you eat and taste this amazing relationship with God? Taste and see that the Lord is good. But how can you do that and not bring others to the table? And so a lot of times we talk about this hunger for God, and I have a hunger for God, and I'm hungry for God, and all this stuff. And how can we say that we have a hunger for God if we don't have a hunger for people to know the God that we serve? And actually, this is a perfect segue, because our next series is called City on a Hill, which is where we'll be focusing on evangelism and telling people about God and all of those wonderful things. So this is really, we're setting things up perfectly. And so we went from that, then we went to the Misfits love misfits, and we talked about how the misfit, and how a misfit is someone that doesn't fit in. But many of us, we weren't meant to fit in, and we were really meant to fit, but we were meant to fit with Christ. And so that's the reason why sometimes we're not really fitting in the way that we think we should, because really God's calling us. And so we talked about that. We talked about on how really at the end of the day, we are all misfits. None of us are perfect, so none of us need to be acting like we're self-righteous, that we have it all together. No, we're just a misfit that found Jesus. We found our fit in Him. And then we talked about a barn filled with pride is suicide last week, which is week 3. And in that, we talked about on how sometimes we consume ourselves with being successful, and the world's idea of success and greed and pride, and how really at the end of the day, that is not what you are to build your life on. You're to build your life upon Jesus Christ. And many times the reason why we have not progressed in life is that we're really trying to excel the world's way without putting God first. But when we put God first, everything else comes into play, and everything else is going to go the way that God set it up, not the way that we set it up, but the way that God set it up. But we have to put Him first. And so we looked at a particular passage where we focused on a man where he had filled his barn and he could no longer contain it. So then he said, I'm going to build bigger barns. But instead of him giving the things away that he was overflowing with, he decided to keep it for himself. And it just taught us on how God never gives us things just for ourselves, but He gives it to us. And as that increase comes, that some of that overflows for other people. It's not just for you, but it's for other people. And so, we talked about that. And I think that tonight is really a great recap, like I said before, because we will be talking about the thirst is real. And, if you are a member of Men Royalty or Girls Royalty, you've gotten your packet. And, if you looked into week 4, really what we're going to be talking about are just several characters in the Bible that had an amazing thirst for God. These are people that at the end of the day, they were desiring God so much. They didn't care how it happened. They didn't care, how they got to him. They just wanted to get to Jesus. They said, look, I just want to get to Jesus. I don't care about anything else. I just want Jesus. And so what we're going to focus on tonight is just, like I said before, just looking at different characters, of people who they had a desire for God. And we're also going to be looking at, what does it really mean to thirst for God? We say that we thirst, but I kind of want to correct this because, the title says that the thirst is real, right? And if you are familiar with Instagram or social media, Twitter, Facebook, there's a word called thirst, and thirst is kind of like when, you're like just basically doing the most. You are, have a overbearing desire to get someone's attention, right? That's what called being thirsty is, So we see it all the time in this generation, the word thirst, where, kind of like I said before, it's an overbearing desire to get someone's attention, and so, sometimes girls say, oh, he's thirsty, because he's trying to pursue a woman quite heavily in a way where the woman does not feel like, okay, he's overbearing. Sometimes it's vice versa, the girl is, trying to get at the guy. But tonight we're going to look at it from God's standpoint, and not relationship wise, but our relationship with Jesus. And so what we're looking at tonight is, we may say that we thirst for Jesus, but at some point we need to be filled. Some people, they can say, God, thirsty. I'm thirsty. God, I'm thirsty for you. God, I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty for you. And at some point though, you need to say, okay, God, fill me up, okay. And the funny thing is that we're going to look at many scriptures that basically point out that Jesus said that once you have me, you'll never thirst again. So why do we keep on saying that we're thirsty? Are we not drinking from Jesus? Are we not receiving what he's giving us? And so these are the things that I'm definitely going to be tackling tonight. So just bear with me as we go through tonight. I promise you I'm not going to keep you long at all. We're going to get in, get out. We're probably going to get done way before 10 o'clock, hopefully. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, okay? If you're a Girls Royalty, Men Royalty member, you already have your packet. I have mine on my phone. Of course, you can download it straight. When we email it to you, you can download it. I have an iPhone, so I download mine straight to iBooks, which is just great because I can carry my packet with me. I can look at my confessions and all sorts of things. So, excuse me. So like I said before, we're going to start at Luke 10, 38 through 42. Okay, so Luke 10, 38 through 42. We're going to be looking at Mary and Martha first. I think this is a great kickoff passage for us, just to see what it really means to put our priorities in check. Okay, so like I said before, that is Luke 10, 38 through 42. So Luke 10. 48 through 42. Again, I'm going to be reading from the Message version. That is my favorite version, especially when I'm teaching. So here's what it says. It says, as they continued their travel, and again, you may be very familiar with this passage, but I'm going to read it because, of course, our goal is that we're going to not just reach the people who are saved, but what about those of us, those who may not know Jesus, right? You're going to want to know what this says. So as they continued their travel, Jesus entered a village. A woman by the name of Martha welcomed him and made him feel quite at home. She had a sister named She had a sister named Mary, who sat before the master, hanging on every word he said. But Martha was pulled away by all she had to do in the kitchen. Later, she stepped in, interrupting them. Master, don't you care that my sister has abandoned the kitchen to me? Tell her to lend me a hand. The master said, Martha, dear Martha, you're fussing far too much and putting yourself worked up over nothing. One thing only is essential, and Mary has chosen it. It's the main course and won't be taken from her. It's the main course and won't be taken from her. Think about that. Okay, so what I want you to do is, as I'm teaching this, I want you to I kind of want to lay the groundwork on the wording and what Jesus is saying. So he tells, okay, so we have two characters, right? So we have Mary and Martha. We have Mary, who is the one who's at Jesus' feet. Okay. And then we have Martha, who is just, oh, she's in the kitchen. Kind of think about, Sunday dinner, maybe, like back in the day with your family, maybe if you ever had a huge family, maybe if you didn't, maybe it was like a family, and maybe it was a friend. You went over their house and they had their huge family, and everyone was cooking dinner and getting ready, to eat. And you kind of know the hustle and bustle of the kitchen. Things are going on. You got to prepare this. You got to make sure this is right, especially when you're the host. Okay. And the funny thing is that I read this in a book which I absolutely love called Life Is. It just came out maybe about a month ago. It's by Judah Smith, one of my favorite pastors from City Church in Seattle and now in LA. And in his book Life Is, he talks about the Mary and Martha situation passage, and he talks about this idea of busyness, being so busy, being so consumed with life, and not taking time to focus on what is really important, right? There was another book too that I saw on Instagram that a person that I follow had talked about, and I wish I had it. I wish I had the name on me, but it's a very popular topic, where people are consumed with just doing, I'm busy with this. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. And Jesus is saying, hey, I'm right here. Oh no, I gotta do this. I gotta do this. So you're getting yourself so consumed with work and busy. And this is sometimes we think that this is like concerning like your career, all this kind of things. But this is also concerning, the work you do for God. I have to settle myself down so much too, where I'm so consumed with doing that Jesus said, okay, you need to get at my feet and talk to me, and that's a real thing. And so what we see here is we see Mary like this at Jesus' feet. Okay, Jesus, what more can you say to me? Yeah, I'm listening, right? And then we see Martha, who is just like, are you serious? This girl's over here listening to Jesus. Jesus is our guest, and we should be getting ready for him. Now, was Martha wrong in her thought process? No, we can't technically blame Martha so much, because she was taking I guess you would call it the host position, right? She was hosting. And so when you're a host, your job is to make sure that the guest is okay, right? But the funny thing is that when Jesus is in your house, the first thing you should be worried about is not even him getting his meal. He's like, look, I'm here. I'm giving you words of wisdom. You need to be at my feet. And so, we can't blame Mary saying that, oh, she's wrong. She should have been. But there is a half there and a half yes. Half no, half yes. Where, yeah, she definitely should have been at the feet of Jesus. But what she did was she took the thought process that a lot of us take, and that's really what I want to talk about as we're kind of getting into the thirst is real, is that a lot of us have that society mentality, where we're so consumed and we're not realizing that Jesus is speaking because we're so consumed with the kitchen, we're so consumed with the kids, the career, the house, the mortgage, the bills, the tuition, the relationships that are going wrong, all this kind of stuff, right? And the funny thing is that to fix all of those problems, Jesus is the solution, right? And so we see one person who is, as the word says, hanging on to every word that he is saying. And then Jesus says to Martha, what I love is the very last sentence. He's saying that, look, Mary, she is getting the main course, the main meal. Why would he say that? Well, he knew that Martha was preparing dinner, right? She was preparing the food. And the funny thing is that Jesus may say to her, while you're preparing that kind of food, the food that I am giving her, it says that what she will, and this is what I love at the end, it says that it's the main course and it won't be taken from her. Okay, so now we know that he's not talking about physical food. It's talking about spiritual food, right? The Bible says that man should not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God, right? That is what Jesus said to the enemy, when he said, hey, make these rocks turn into bread, right? Or make these stones, rocks, same thing, make them turn into bread. And so we see there, where Jesus obviously says that, we're not going to live by physical food, not just alone. But see, there's a part of us, which is our spirit man, that needs to be fed. There is the spirit man in us. And the funny thing is that many times we neglect. See, we dress up the natural, but we neglect the spirit man because we're so consumed with what's happening outside of us. But like I said before, a lot of times we cannot handle correctly what's happening outside if we don't get ourselves ready inside. The mentality, how you're looking at it, how you're perceiving it, is faith backed by it, all these things. And so we may say, oh yeah, I'm ready to face this, I'm ready to do this, but that's because we're ready in the natural. But God's saying, look, this is what Jesus told, he was telling Martha, look, this main meal, this food that I'm giving her, this knowledge, this wisdom, this word of faith, she will not, it's not going to leave her, okay? In other words, it's going to stay with her. This is something that will feed her continuously. This is something that is going to be put into her spirit, man, and that is important. And so what we see here is again, as I'm talking about the topic, the thirst is real, what we're seeing is that, there is importance in taking care of our spirit, man. And there's importance in making sure that our spirits are being fed the word of God. And so when we play on the words, the thirst is real, because I'm going to tell you why. Let's move on to our next passage, which I think is kind of going to lead a segue. Let's look at John 4, 1 through 29. Excuse me. John 4. I'm very sick, guys. Just going to let you know ahead of time. John 4, 1 through 29. And we're going to be looking at the woman at the well. And that's really what the title's based off of. So when you say the thirst is real, that's based off of actually this whole passage, okay? And so the thirst is real. I love, because like when we read the woman at the well story, you're going to completely see how I even got this topic for this. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, okay? I'm going to kind of put in bits and pieces and just kind of bring out the important ones, okay? And so I will start here. It says that, let me start at, so in John 4 and 7, we see that number one, you can look at it again, it's John 4, 1 through 29, okay? And again, I'm looking really 1 through 30. And so really what we're seeing is there's a woman, she's a Samaritan woman, okay? She was at the well, as we see here. And it says here in verse 7, a woman, a Samaritan, came to draw water. Jesus said, would you give me a drink of water? So as we know here, his disciples, they were not there. The Samaritan woman, she was taken back. She asked, how come you, a Jew, are asking me, a Samaritan woman, for a drink? Jews in those days wouldn't be caught talking to the Samaritans, okay? Jesus answered, if you knew the generosity of God and who I am, you would be asking me for a drink. Oh, that's funny. Jesus is funny. He said, he basically saying, you're surprised that I want to drink. Look, if you knew who I was, you'd be asking me for a drink, right? Because he says, you would be asking me for a drink, and I would give you fresh living water. The woman said, sir, you don't even have a bucket to draw with, and this well is deep. So how are you going to get this living water? I love this translation, the message. Are you a better man than our ancestor Job, who dug this well and drank from it, he and his sons and livestock, and passed it down to us? Jesus said, everyone who drinks this water will get thirsty again and again. Anyone who drinks the water I give will never thirst, not ever. The water I give will be an artesian spring within, gushing fountains of endless life. So the woman says, hey, I need this water. He said, and this is kind of where we're going to stop, because I'm going to get into the next part. So basically, Samaritan woman, Jesus is a Jew, right? So they meet, they're at the water, they're at the well. And if you're familiar with like the Good Samaritan and the Jew, if you know the story, where basically, the Good Samaritan is showing favor to this Jew. And of course, back then they were basically like enemies. And so it was very odd for, them to have such a cordial, greeting, relationship. So here Jesus, of course Jesus doesn't care. And remember, he's here to break the stigma. He's here to break the laws. And when I say laws, I mean these man-made laws that don't even make sense. Jesus is there to rock the boat, not just rock the boat, but to sink it. I mean, to really break and reshape these natural man-made logics that have been set up through this systematic legalistic system, where we're doing things because of because we want to, not because that God says so or that love is in it. And so this woman, she's surprised, she's like, wait, why are you talking to me? Of course, Jesus doesn't care, keeps on talking to her. And what Jesus tells her is that, the water that I'm going to give you, you'll never thirst again. The woman's very curious, because she's like, okay, I'm here at this well physical water. What water are you talking about? And so this water, of course, she says that, well, I mean, the water you're talking about, you don't even have a bucket, are you better than any of us where you can go down here and get this water? I mean, what are you trying to say? And so this story, this is what I really want you to, this is what I really want you to know. And I'm going to define thirst for you, because this is going to open up as we're going to go through this passage. You will really see when I talk about the thirst is real, and why Jesus was so adamant about talking to this woman about thirsting and about water and about to be fulfilled. So let me pull this up for you. And I think this is just such a powerful, as I was studying it, I was just like, wow. I mean, I was getting some things for myself that just, this week, and things that I'm going through this week and all the other things. I'm just like, wow, like God, like, this is like a perfect thing for me. So this is what thirst means. It means a feeling of needing or wanting to drink something. Okay. It is also the lack of liquid needed to sustain life. A thirst for also means, a definition means a strong desire for something. Okay. Strong desire for something. Wow. A feeling of needing or wanting to drink something. Lack of the liquids needed to sustain life. Needed to sustain life. Needed to sustain life. Needed to sustain life. Wow. Okay. So here's what I'm hearing, and this is what God was giving me. And I was like, just like, wow, like God, like, wow. So we have natural water. Okay, we know that our bodies are basically like 75% made of water. Then we have the everlasting water, right? It is literally it's the word of God. It's this relationship with God. It is Himself. It is this undescribable thing that when you get in a relationship with God, it is just everlasting. It's overflowing. It's fulfilling. It changes your desires. It changes the way you think, changes the way that you love, changes the way that you even talk to people, right? That is this. Okay, then you have the water, of course, that you need to drink every day. What we see here is that all of us, saved, unsaved, not really sure, maybe, you're kind of playing back and forth, all of us at one point have thirsted for something. And that thirst kept us always wanting more, whether it was, relationships with guys or relationships with women, if you're a guy, whether it was, drugs, whether it was alcohol, whether it was abuse, whether it was, promiscuous things that you did, whether it was, addictions, whether it was, things that we run to, whether it was broken people that we know we didn't need to be around, but we kept on being around, whether it was, self-abuse, whatever it was, we thought that we could fill it, whether it was food, food, whatever it was, we had, before we knew Jesus, or maybe you don't know Jesus, it's that all of us at one point have thirsted for something that was not Jesus, and it can never sustain us because we always had to keep on coming back to that well to get more. For me, my testimony, which I always have shared several times, is that, for me, I was addicted to, sex, to, promiscuous type, well, not promiscuous, but yeah, pretty much, yeah. Fornication, having sex outside of marriage, just where for me, it was that I did not have a high self-esteem, and it wasn't because my parents told me I was beautiful every day. It was just that I was so, I thirsted for validation from people who did not know me. Like, for me, it was like, okay, everyone already, all you guys already know me, so of course you call me beautiful. But am I beautiful to this person who doesn't know me at all? Or am I beautiful to a guy, and it was just like, I was so thirsty for attention from people, and from the opposite sex to give me what I felt was validation, and the shout out to ministry, Shayna from No Validation Needed, because I love what her message is about, because it's about how we don't need to be validated by anybody except God. But during that time, I really did not feel pretty. I did not feel validated. I did not feel worthy, and of course I was not focusing on the thirst of, not so much the thirst, but being filled by God, being filled by Jesus, being filled by that kind of water. I was focused on this thirstiness of, just going back for more. And it gets tiring, it gets tiring. I have to go back to this one. I have to draw it back up. But all this work, I have to draw it back up and bring it up. Put on your shoulders, take it back. Drink from it. Drink from more. You drink as much as you can. Then you're thirsty for more, And it's crazy because we go through this cycle. You go through this cycle of just thirsting for whatever it is that you're trying to be filled. But because it's something that was never really meant to fill you, you have to come back for more. So what we see is that because there are some things only God can feel because it's really meant for his love. Because the funny thing is that everything else that we're trying to feel has shortcomings. It is created by man. In other words, like for instance, fornication is something that is done by man, right? And so if it's not done within the confines of marriage, it's never really truly fulfilling because you're giving yourself to someone who's not fully committed to you. They may be committed to you in words, but no, they're not willing to take you down the altar. They're not committed. So it's other things. It's that we're committed to pride. We're committed to to things, and we work hard for all these things, and we fill our lives with these things. And so because we feel like maybe you struggled as a child, and you grew up in poverty, and so as you grew up and as you begin to get money, that was for you. That was how you feel that hole. Was through monetary possessions, okay? Maybe it was addictions, and you tried to solve all your problems and issues one way, and it didn't seem to work. So then you pulled to drugs or to alcohol or different things. Whatever it may be, again, there's no way to truly fill that hole because it's meant for God, because only God's love can protect and fill it to its fullest capacity, and you will not have to get seconds. Jesus says, the water that I'll give you will never have to thirst again. Why do we keep on saying we're thirsty for God? I'm just being serious. We're going to just challenge this. Why do we say, our song, I'm thirsty for you. I know a song like that. I'm desperate for you. And it's funny because I know the song. But as I began to think about it, especially as I was studying this, I'm like, we are not to thirst for him. Because he said that the water that he gives us will never have to thirst again. And so really what we're supposed to do is stay in that relationship with God. And he pours into us his love, his grace, and it's continuous. His grace is forever. It doesn't stop. His mercy, it lasts forever. His love, infinity. There's nothing that we have to pour more into. God, he pours into us. We pour our love and our relationship and our commitment to him, and in turn he pours all this amazingness on us, right? And so we really have never have to thirst for him. We don't have to thirst for him ever, because he said that the water that I give, you'll never have to thirst again. So let's get on. So what happens is, as we go to the next couple of scriptures, we see why Jesus is taking the time to talk to this woman. This is why I love Jesus, because he shows us how we are to do evangelism, like how we are to reach out to people. Because see, Jesus, he was not concerned on who hangs out with who and who's supposed to do this and who's supposed to do that. He's like, look, whoever needs Jesus, that's who I'm here for. But Jesus, he knew about this woman. He was hilarious. So this is what we go. So this is what we see, sorry. Well, if you go back to the passage, excuse me. He says, look, go call your husband and then come back. Because remember, the verse before says, the woman said, sir, give me this water so I won't ever get thirsty. Won't ever have to come back to this well again. He says, look, okay, cool. Go get your husband and then come back. So she says, I have no husband, she said. She said, I have no husband. This is what Jesus said. That's nicely put, the way he said that. You have no husband. You've had 5 husbands, and the man you're living with now isn't even your husband. You spoke the truth there. Sure enough, I have no husband. So the woman says, oh, okay, so you're a prophet. Well, tell me this. Okay, great. Our ancestors worshiped God at this mountain, but you Jews insist that Jerusalem was the only place for worship, right? So then Jesus says, believe me, woman, the time is coming when you Samaritans will worship the Father, either here at this mountain or there in Jerusalem. You'll worship guessing in the dark. We Jews worship in the clear light of day. God's way of salvation is made available to the Jews, but the time is coming. It has, in fact, come. When what you're called will not matter, and where you go to worship will not matter. Hallelujah. It's who you are. Oh my God. Listen to this, guys. It is who you are and the way that you live that count before God. Listen to this. So what Jesus is saying is, look, because, okay, wow, this is powerful. I'm just going to keep on reading them, and then I'm going to talk about it. So he said, that's the kind of people the Father is out looking for, those who are simply and honestly themselves before him in their worship. God is sheer being itself spirit. Those who worship him must do it out of their very beings, their spirits, their true selves in adoration. The woman said, I don't know about that. I don't know that the Messiah is coming. When he arrives, okay, we'll get the whole story. And then Jesus says, I am he. You don't have to wait any longer or look any farther, right? Okay, so then the disciples come back. They were shocked. They couldn't believe that he was with that kind of woman. Listen to that verbiage, that kind of woman. No one said what they were thinking, but their faces showed it. The woman took the hint and left. In her confusion, she left the water pot. Back in the village, she told the people, come see a man who knew all the things I did, who knows me inside and out. Do you think this could be the Messiah? And they went out to see for themselves. Wow. Okay, so then later, if you look in the same chapter, John 4, verses 39 to 42, you'll see that the Samaritans, they come back. They were listening to him, and then he taught and all that. Okay, so this is so crazy. So this is what Jesus says, right? Jesus says, okay, but let's go back to the husband thing. Jesus knew already before she even said she had 5 husbands. He already knew. Why would he ask her the most obvious questions? Like, why would you, and this is the thing we have to really get. Why would Jesus ask something he already knew? Why would he do that? Why would Jesus ask the woman, you could nicely put, you said you have no husband. Well, in fact, at 5, and the guy you're with now isn't even your husband. Why would he ask the most obvious question? Was it to prove that he was Messiah? It was to show her thirst. What in the physical, the woman was getting water to go to the well, right? But in the spirit, in this woman's inward being, the inside of this woman, what was she going to the well for in the spirit? Okay, she went through 5 husbands, and the man that she is with now isn't even her husband. Clearly, what is she really thirsting for? Companionship, love. She's not getting it. She's lacking it. She's just going from man to man. What is she thirsting for? See, Jesus was not there to talk to her about the water that she was getting. Jesus was there to talk to her about the thirst that she was missing, the fulfillment. Because see, this woman was going from man to man. See, Jesus came to talk to her about the men. He wasn't there to talk to her about some water that she was about to get out the well, but he used it to talk as a general like intro. Okay, like hey, you get water. It's kind of like sit down. See, Jesus is very smart, because what he did was he used a natural application to get to what was really going on within her, which was that she was trying to fill that void with men. That was really what we're looking at a woman who was trying to fill that void with a man, with companionship that was not truly satisfying her, because the man she was even with now, it wasn't even her husband. So here she is fooling around, right? Okay, so I mean, when I read it, I saw my past in this woman, a woman that was just, really searching for this fulfillment, and she really wasn't getting it. Now, you replace the men, and you replace yourself, and you put yourself in the Samaritan woman's shoes, whether you're man, female, whatever. And what are those things that, you are letting fill those voids that really God should be filling? Now, what are those things? And the funny thing is that for me, even now, I'm saved, and which is, people say, I'm saved, which really just means, hey, I know Jesus. That's plain and simple. Doesn't mean anything higher or lower. It just means, I know Jesus and I have a relationship with him, and so that's the thing I have it. But when I began to renew my mind and I got saved and all these things, what I did begin to see myself was that those desires did change. I Of course, we slip every now and then. Your ex may call you. Your friends from your past may say hello every once in a while. Things may happen. Your past may try to sneak up every now and then. But through it all, I think that what happens is that you definitely begin to have a desire for the things of God. You truly, as remember, once you get that taste, once you get the taste of God, it is life changing. And so you begin to replace those desires because God is pouring into you. When he's pouring into you, he needs a space to come into. And so you have to kick all those people who you're trying to fill that void with, and you have to let him fill that void. And that's where he's going to go. That's where he's going to go. So, and for me, I had to kick those things out because God was trying to download. He was trying to put something in me, and I had to dust and get all that stuff out because I needed. Look, I got to make room. I got to make room for what God's trying to give me. I got to push out the exes, push out all the people, push out all the past experiences, the negative things. And sure, they may come up every now and then. They may say hello every now and then. But look, I'm making space for God. I'm making space for him to fill me up so that I will never thirst again. The issue is that many people who say they know Jesus but are claiming that I'm thirsting for God is that because they have not kicked out those things so that the water, God's everlasting love, has no place to go. So of course they're thirsty. They have never let God truly come in. So of course they're going to keep on saying, I'm thirsty for God, I'm thirsty. Okay, at some point you got to just drink. You gotta drink. And that's the crazy thing. So we see here the woman says, look, okay, fine. You know all about my business. Okay. And the next thing she says is, what about these mountains? Now, back in the Old Testament, I'm not going to go into the full thing. Judah Smith actually did a great teaching on this. I wish I could find these links and give them to you. So I just watch them, randomly. But so with these mountains, let me tell you what happened with these mountains. The Samaritans believe, and this is all based upon older texts, okay? So the Samaritans had a belief that that God, Yahweh, came to this mountain, came to a certain mountain. This mountain, that's where we pray. Then the Jews, they believed that there was another place that God came, and that was where they were supposed to worship. So they had these two different ideas, right? So this is what Jesus said. Jesus was like, look, erase all that nonsense, okay? Because, and this is what I love, remember, Jesus was there to break all these legalistic laws that were like, oh, we got to worship there. You got to worship there. Yeah, and that, just look, at the end of the day, God's going to come down to the people that have a heart for me. Not the people who have picked the right mountain, oh wow, you picked the right mountain today. God's gonna come to you. Oh, I picked, I'm the blessed winner today. God's gonna come to me today. It's almost like you're playing bingo with God. God's like, look, no, I am going to pour my spirit out on someone who is ready to receive what I have for them. I'm gonna pour my spirit out on a person that is in love with me, that they have committed their full heart and their soul to me. I don't care which mountain you worship at. As a matter of fact, it's not even gonna be about any mountains. Forget all the mountains. I will that person is, and if they have could be in the supermarket, they could be at their job, they could be on the highway, they could be on the byway, as people say in church, they could be at the library, they could be in their bedroom, they could be with their best friend in the car headed somewhere. I will download and pour my spirit right there. It doesn't, and that's what really Jesus was saying. It doesn't matter anymore. See, we were so consumed about places and about we gotta be here, we gotta be there, and just no. See, look, I don't care where you're at. If you love me and you serve me and if you trust me with your whole heart, I'm going to love on you like nobody else can. I'm going to do you so good by the time people look at you, they're going to be saying, my God, look at this woman, look at this man. What is on them? Why do they look so fulfilled? And remember what I said. I think I said this before in a previous teaching is that, see, fulfillment does not mean perfection. Okay. So, we always think that, to be completely fulfilled by God means that everything's perfect. You're going to have, first of all, being a Christian does not mean, FYI, that, all of a sudden the devil's going to not touch you. Because usually when you decide to come to God, come to Christ, the enemy is 10 times more worse. Because he's like, oh my gosh, he's no longer going to be, held captive by all my plans. She or he's no longer, they're going to no longer, fall into the fear traps I just said, or the doubt traps I just said. So the enemy's so now he's going to come harder, And so what happens is that, when we really get ourselves in God, we have to, how shall I put this? The desire is amped up. like the desire is like on 10. And as you begin to really get into God, like it's just like it gets higher and higher and higher. And then what happens is your desire does not only fit you, but this is like what we taught in week 1. You know, at this point now, you know, you have a desire. Sorry guys, my hair. You have a desire to tell other people. So what did the Samaritan woman do when after all this happened? She went to the city. She said, look guys, this guy that I just met, this gotta be the Messiah. This gotta be him. And look, this woman just met Jesus, just met him. And in that same day, she went to go tell these people. People said, oh my God, drop my broomsticks, drop my dustpan, drop my pledge. Let's go see Jesus. You know, all this stuff. And the crazy thing is that many of us, when we get to Jesus, when, you know, after we've been in a relationship for like 5 years with Jesus, we haven't told several souls. You know, we just tell people, oh yeah, I go to church. Oh yeah, I go to church. You know, I go to church. It's like, what? I mean, does Jesus really like, how many, is your relationship like real? You know, because when you have, I'm telling you, like when Jesus gets in you and your life is like a 360, I mean, like a 360 where like you're no longer fooling around. I'm not saying you're perfect. I'm not saying you're not making mistakes. What I'm saying is like you are like, you know what, okay, like I'm really gonna make a decision to live for right for God. When you do that, I mean, it's like, how can you not tell people? And the funny thing is that I gotta see like all these like godly quotes on people's pages all the time. But they don't talk about the testimony, because half the time they haven't really turned really to Christ yet. They're really fooling around. Like they really are like they're really like playing the fence. So what they do is like they post like a godly quote, like, well, I don't know where I would be without God. And I'm sitting here like, I mean, why haven't you told your testimony to people? It's probably because 9 times out of 10, they really haven't changed. They're still the old person. They just got on saint clothes. They just got on church clothes. And so what we have to realize is that if you really have made a commitment to Christ, you have a duty. Like you have, and like we can see this in the Samaritan woman. This woman just met Jesus, but she was so changed by one sitting with him that she could no longer stay contained. Matter of fact, the Bible says that she was so like mind blown and confused by all this that she even left the water pail that she brought. I mean, she left the very thing that she was naturally going for because Jesus just spiritually changed her whole thing up. And that's what he does. And you know what? You have to be like the woman at the well, like, oh God, I gotta go tell somebody. Oh my, like I just can't believe what Jesus just told me. It's like that is your duty. Like your duty is to be a runner. Like you need to be a runner, a sprinter for Jesus Christ. That when Jesus is telling you something, it's like, look, I'm telling the word about him. Like I gotta tell the word about Jesus Christ. I'm no longer gonna be held captive by, you know, I'm gonna stay cute for God. I want to be, you know, macho for God. I want to, you know, look cool. You know, like no. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you are. You are too transformed by God. You have come way too far to be this quiet. You've come way too far to stay this silent. You've come way too far to be this mute about this amazing power, this water from on high that is where one drink is all you need, and after that you're gonna be transformed. Like what kind of water is that? And that's what the woman asked, like, well, what kind of water is this? And the first thing that Jesus talked about after that was, well, you know, before we even get to this, let's talk about, first of all, why I can't even put myself into the fulfillment, into that area that I need to be filled, is because right now it's being filled by men. So Jesus is like, you need to get that out. And so what I'm challenging you for the rest of this week is that look into your life, look into areas where, you know, maybe Jesus isn't getting his due. He's not getting all of you. You know, maybe there's some parts of you that you're trying to let open and let it be fulfilled by other people. You're not letting God fulfill it. You know, you're not letting God come in there and do his thing. You know, if you find yourself, maybe, you know, hey, maybe you've let your past come back and tap you on the back, and maybe you said hello to it a few times. You know, you just make sure that you're getting back on track with Jesus Christ. Make sure that, you know, your heart is in the right place. Make sure that, you know, it's not so much about the mountains, not so much about where do I pray here, where do I pray there. Remember that it's about Jesus said, I'm looking for someone with a real heart, someone who just really just wants. I mean, isn't it good to be wanted? I mean, like Jesus wants us so bad. I mean, like the thirst, like Jesus is like, you see her, you see him, look at that, look, you see that thing? They're so cool. Like Jesus, like he loves us like that. I mean, like if he had an Instagram, he would be liking all your pictures, even the ones that you deleted and are in your trash roll on your phone that you're about to clear, all the 50 selfies that you took and only one of them came on right. Your other ones, you're like, Jesus even loves those. he loves the ones in the trash. And so if that's the kind of God that we serve, then we need to put our efforts into accepting that love and letting him feel that in us. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that. It's 9:50. I think I've covered the majority bulk of really what I wanted to cover tonight. But the thirst is real, y'all. I mean, thirst is real. There are so many people out here who are thirsting for so many things, and they're not being fulfilled. And maybe there's some of us, who we found ourselves thirsting again, thirsting for the wrong things, when really we just need to let Jesus, look, one drink, just get one drink of Jesus, and let him just begin to change your life. Let him begin to mold you and shape you. Okay, so I'm going to end right there. I'm going to pray us out, and then I just have like one announcement, and that's it. Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you for tonight. I want to thank you for tonight's teaching, Lord God. I want to thank you, Lord God, that you're changing us and you're molding us and you're helping us, Lord God. Just not help us remove those things that we've been thirsting after, that at the end of the day we should not even be chasing after, Lord God. God, help us, Lord God, and Lord, just free us from those things. God, I thank you, Lord God, that under the sound of my voice, Lord God, that someone is being changed and transformed by your power, not by mine, not by anything that I've done, Lord God, but by you, and that your Holy Spirit is working on every one of us, Lord God. Thank you, Lord God, that for the rest of this week, Lord God, that we're going to see the positive, that we're going to see what you are doing, not what you aren't doing, Lord God, but Lord God, we're going to see life, Lord God, through the eyes of faith, Lord God. And we thank you, Lord God, that you're going to help us, Lord God, have a wonderful week, Lord God. It may not be perfect, Lord God, but it will be wonderful, Lord God, because every single day, Lord God, is the day, Lord God, that you've woken us up, Lord God. And God, we thank you for all these things, Lord God. We thank you, Lord God, that again, we are going to receive the water from you, Lord God, the water, Lord God, that is the everlasting life, Lord God, where we will never thirst again. We thank you for all these things. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Also, oh God, I don't want to forget. God, I also pray, Lord God, for anyone, Lord God, that is battling anything, Lord God, whether it's addictions, Lord God, whether it's certain things, Lord God, that they want to be fulfilled with, Lord God, that is not of you, Lord God. Lord God, we cast it out, Lord God. Help us, Lord God, to live a life, Lord God, that is pleasing to you, Lord God, and in your sight. If there's anyone hurting, anyone battling with anything, Lord God, if there's any prayer requests unspoken, Lord God, we ask, Lord God, that you would cover it, Lord God, with your blood, Lord God, that you would cover with your love. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So make sure I pray for that. Okay, guys, so the only other announcement I have is that this Saturday, if you're in the Philadelphia, for ladies only, if you're in the Philadelphia, tri-state, Delaware area, the ladies, Girls of Royalty, we're having our tea party this Saturday. So in Wilmington, it's at the Sheraton, right in downtown Wilmington, Delaware. We would love for you to join us. Tickets are still available online. You can go to our website, girlsroyalty.com. You can scroll to the bottom, and there is the event right on our homepage. Or you can go to the THE, the numbers 4040, so 4040, TEA .eventbrite.com. That's BRITE. So bright, EVENTBRITE.com. So the 4040t.eventbrite.com. You'll get your tickets. They're $40. They cover your seat, covers some amazing goodie bags and glam bags. And also, I'm really excited that we will be giving each woman a workbook, Girls Royalty free workbook with your seat. We're going to be giving you some good ones, y'all, some good ones. So, our Holy Spirit, you can't touch this, the Cinderella faith and glass slippers. We'll be going over the oil of obedience. So it's going to be great. We also have some special speakers, some performers, so we really don't want you to miss this. Again, if you know anyone who's in the tri-state Northeast area, tell them about it. We would love to have you. I would love to see you. Anyway, I want you guys to have a blessed week. Join us next week. We start our new series. Oh my gosh, we're going to be talking about evangelism. We're going to be talking about spreading the word of God. We just ended this whole series in April, talking about hungering for God and have a hunger for God and bringing people to Christ. Now we're going to take it a notch up and talk about evangelism and how we can tell our testimonies. How you cannot take 40 minutes to tell your testimony. Yeah, because we got to talk about that. When we talk about all sorts of things on how to win people to Christ, on things that you can do and tools, because the Bible does say that a person who wins souls, they're wise. So we have to be strategic. It's not that we're conniving or anything, but you can't just yell at people and tell them about Jesus. Like, it doesn't work that way. You have to do it in love. And sometimes, we may not know all the ways to do it. And there are people who are skilled and who have truly God's amazing wisdom on how to win people to Christ. And so, we just want to tell people about, how Jesus is just amazing. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Taste and see that the Lord is good. How can you taste him and not tell other people about him, So anyway, just join us next week, same time, every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Follow us on Instagram, stay tuned to all the things. We're very excited with, all the things that's going on. So have a blessed day, rest night, whenever you're watching this, and I pray you be blessed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.